Good morning. Here we are on Saturday. I hear people cutting their grass outside. I think it's my neighbor. Um, so, uh, hopefully you had a good week, um, and are ready for maybe some weather this weekend. I don't know. Uh, Probably not so much here, but I guess you just never know, right? We always try to pay attention, right? Being as close to the water as we are when things are coming around. But we've been through quite a few hurricanes that have come through. Nothing really ever too bad, but there's definitely been some flooding and things. Um, I can remember, and I don't remember which one it was particularly, but it was quite a long time ago because I know my kids were quite young, and my husband was working at a different uh, in a different area, a different department than he is now. And one of his jobs was to do all the computer support for one of Christiana Care's sort of satellite offices up around Greenville. And, the hurricane was coming and the weather was getting bad and plenty of rain and everything. And I guess the servers, computer servers, were up in the basement for some reason of of this facility that was in like kind of an old building, and so they had to move everything because water was coming in. So he went up to do that, and we were holding down the fort here. But um, as he was coming back into town after doing that work, um, the water was up, and Delaware City, when the weather gets bad, and we have this set of circumstances, right? So you need high tide, you need certain phase of the moon, I guess, maybe full moon cycle, and the wind. I mean, everything has to be in just the right chain of events. There's 3 roads in and out of town, um, 3 ways to go, and each one of them can flood. uh, Usually they don't all flood at the same time, but in this perfect storm of things, they can flood all at the same time. In which case, Delaware City becomes essentially an island here. So he got in just as the last thing was going underwater, and so we were stuck for a little bit, not too long. And I'm sure we could have gotten out if we needed to, but we do. I have to say we don't have one now, but we usually try to keep a boat in the backyard, just in case we need to float our way out at some point, which I guess is always a possibility, always a potential here in the out on the coast. So um, luckily for us, right, the way we are a little inland and a little protected by New Jersey, right? We're kind of behind New Jersey here. So that's the good, right? The good news is we don't get the real edge of the storm, but of course, the bad news is, being close to the water, and where it starts to narrow down, you can get some flooding. Now we're in a kind of a sweet spot, right, where we are shielded from the storm, but the river is still quite wide, right? When you get further up towards Philadelphia and everything, then you really can have some big flooding. But um, yeah, that's my water story for today. All right, well, maybe we can talk about um, expectations and anticipation, right? So, yoga um, teaches us that expectation is a waste, right? It is a kind of a waste of energy, a waste of our um, attention, and it can be very detrimental, right? When we hold a lot of expectations about the way things should be, we are unable to see how they really are. We are living inside of our own head rather than in reality. And um, this is almost always a bad idea. Right? Um, as we've spoken about before, our perception of events is not the same as the events themselves. Our perception is always um, a bit distorted. Um, even even when we're trying so hard to be very clear-eyed and very aware, we still, being a human being, have these um, distortions, right, to our view, to our understanding. And knowing that we have them, we can we can't really get rid of them, right? We can try to avoid them, right? And that's really it. We can't really get rid of them, but we can try to avoid their impact on the way we do things. And um, the one of the ways to do this is to discard expectations. Um, Expectations are nothing but a source of disappointment. We when we expect things to go a certain way, we're bound to be disappointed when they don't. Um, so better yet, just don't have any expectations. Just allow things to unfold for themselves. Um, if you have an expectation, expect that you will have a good time regardless. And this is maybe the best type of expectation is an expectation you might have about yourself, right? Um, in this, we can be pretty clear, right? So rather than, and we used to run into this a lot when the kids were young and we were trying to do sort of fun things with them. Our expectation of how much fun it would be was usually not correct, right? Because something would happen, right? When you have three little kids, chances of all of them having fun at exactly the same time are pretty small. Usually one's crying, usually one's mad, you know? And that's how it is. So if you base your expectation, your enjoyment of a situation on what they're doing, you're gonna have a problem. So instead, set an expectation that you're going to have a good day, right? You're going to have a good day. Um, that's an expectation you can fill because no matter what happens, you can find a way to make it okay. You can adjust, you can adapt. Um, that is a reasonable expectation, right? To expect that you're going to go and do something and everything's going to go your way and it's going to be a perfect day and all of that, right? You know, then if it rains, you're crushed. If the person that was supposed to come doesn't show up, you're crushed. If you don't even enjoy the place that you went as much as you thought you would, you're crushed. Right? You can see how this would be a problem. As we have said so many times, we only have control over our own actions and behavior, our own thoughts and beliefs. We cannot control other people. We cannot predict other people, right? Trying to predict the actions of someone is about as accurate as the weatherman telling you the path of the hurricane. Yeah, you might have some experience dealing with this person, and you might have some insights, just like the weatherman has some radar. He's got historic data. He might be able to make an educated guess, as you might with your husband or your children, an educated guess about what this set of circumstances is going to reap, but you can't know for sure. So, why even bother? Why not just adapt and allow things to be what they are? Um, then it's one time effort, right? The other time, it's two times effort. You've already spent a lot of time planning and plotting how this is all going to go. And then it happens. So then you're upset and trying to adapt and change at the same time, doing something different, which is never a good position, right? Um, there is no situation in which being upset improves it, right? Just like there's no situation in which anger improves it. Um, these type of really big emotional responses are very understandable, right? Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with being angry or being upset. They are normal. Uh, they're normal reactions to things that happen to us. But you can see how they put us at a disadvantage, right? They sap our energy. They allow us to not see things clearly, right? We're all caught up in that emotional response. We're not able to formulate a sensible course of action, at least not right then, right? So how about we skip? We skip that part by just letting things be. Um, maybe something will happen that will make you mad. I don't know. But I can guarantee you, if you have a whole scenario built up in your head that comes crashing down, you are going to feel upset. Um, and I can guarantee you that 9 times out of 10, that's exactly what's going to happen. Um, it is the very rare occasion where things go exactly as you planned, right? Is that not your experience? It's certainly been my experience. Um, so, better to not hold tight to a plan. Um, be flexible. And know that in any given circumstance, there's a whole array of outcomes which can be positive. I can remember several times things that we did, places that we went, that we ended up doing something completely different, and it was great. It was really fun. And I can also remember other instances where I got angry, right? Or someone got angry and ruined um, what could have been a fun time because, again, we were clinging to some thought. And in the end, that's what you remember, right? You remember those times that you kind of messed up, right? You had an opportunity to do better, but you chose not to, or you just couldn't, right? In the moment, you were too upset or too angry. So we don't want to stop being human. We can't, right? We can't feel like a robot about things, but we can give ourselves fewer opportunities to have um, these things happen. And, in the end, it's a much freer way of going through life. It's a much looser way of looking at things. We don't have to always have everything figured out because we don't, right? Whether we think we have it figured out or not, we really don't. And whether we plan and plot and have our itinerary down to the very moment, that's not what's really going to happen either. So be don't be so hard on yourself. Don't be so hard on the people around you. Just allow things to happen. And know that you'll figure it out, right? You're a grown up. You've been here quite a few years. You may or may not feel confident about some of the decisions that you've made. But I think if you give yourself a little more credit than perhaps you have in the past, you'll see that you've already gone through a lot of situations. You've made good decisions. You've maybe made some bad decisions too, but hopefully you've learned a little from that. So have some faith. You don't have to be 100% prepared for your life every step of the way. You can improvise. And a lot of times that improvisation turns out better than your plan, or at least as good as your plan. And a lot less effort, a lot less stress and struggle. So we're gonna improvise and see what happens with the hurricane. Hopefully, nothing too significant. That's one thing the pandemic did for us is we finally got all of our emergency supplies and stuff all sorted out, and that was a good thing, because that's always a good thing to have on hand. If you don't have stuff like that, you should. A little supply of food, little supply of water, some flashlights, things like that, candles, stuff that you might need if power goes out for a little bit, or you have an issue with high winds and a tree and power lines or your roof or something, right? Those things happen. Even in very inland places, I can remember, having hurricanes go through, and places in Newark, being out of power for quite a long time. A friend of my son's, they live up in a really woody area up around Hockessin, and their whole neighborhood was out for more than a week because so many trees came down. So look around, see what you have, right? What are your particular, what hazards, right? Our hazard is water. So, we try to have a boat. Or something we can float on if we need to, right? But I don't have too many trees, so that's not a huge concern. But if you have a lot of trees, you might want to make sure they're trimmed, or be prepared for the possibility that they may come down on your house or the road around you or whatever. These are all right, things to think about. Not to stress over, but to just be aware of, and prepare a little bit, see what happens. All right, so sitting up, let's do a little breathing, a little pranayama. Shoulders relaxed, steady with the breath. We're breathing in and out through the nose. Let's take one more breath and then drop the chin down toward the chest. Just let your head hang here. And then lifting, keep lifting the head drops back. Back to center, take a breath. Moving over to the right. And then moving to the left. Back up, arms wide, take a deep breath. Exhale, hands together. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Interlace the fingers. Lift. Gaze up. And then arms down by your side. Inhale, lift. And lower. Lift. And lower. Once more, lift up. Right arm down by your side, reach across. Switch. Back up, let's lift the shoulders, roll back. And forward. Left hand on right knee, right arm behind, sit tall and twist. Switch here, twist. Back to center, tabletop. Sitting back on the heels. And then make your way back up, tabletop to downward dog. And step up. In your fold here. Rising slowly. Standing tall. Breath in and breath out. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to a flat back, and then on the exhale, right foot steps back. Drop your knee, arms overhead. Hands to the mat, step back into downward dog. Come on forward to high plank and lower down. Lifting head and chest, then lower. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Coming up, upward dog or tabletop. Moving into downward dog. Take a breath. Then we're going to step right foot up. Arms overhead. Back foot steps up and fold. Inhale, flat back. Fold on the exhale. Lifting. Back to mountain. Breath in, breath out. Inhale, lift. Fold. Flat back. Step back with the left. Arms overhead. Moving into downward dog. High plank and lower. Lift. Lower. Lift. And lower. Once more, we're lifting up and lower down. Moving back up. Downward dog. One more breath. And then stepping up. Arms overhead. Hands down. Back foot steps up and fold. Inhale, lift. Lower. Arms lift overhead. Back to mountain. Breath in and breath out. Bring the legs wide. Take a deep breath, relax your shoulders, and fold. Moving up. Take a breath. And then we'll do another, but this time interlace the fingers behind. So pulling back, shoulders, take a deep breath, fold. Rising up again, breath in and out. Release the hands, arms up overhead. And then back. Let's bring the bring the feet about shoulder width apart for squat. Hands together, take a deep breath. Bend the knees, lower down. One more breath, and then rising up again. Release the hands. Let's turn to the side. So we've got that right foot out, left foot back. Hands behind, or you could grab opposite wrists or elbows, whatever you want. Take a breath, fold forward. Back up. Back foot steps to the front. Arms overhead. Back to mountain. Let's face the other way. So left leg is out, right leg back. Same thing. Folding over the left leg. So we're not really folding over the leg. We're kind of folding center, but your shoulder is kind of folding over the leg, right? And back up. Back foot steps to the front. Arms overhead. And we're back to mountain. Let's take a couple balance poses here. So we can start with tree. Standing on the left foot. Steady here. Steady gaze. Eye level or higher. Keep the breath moving through the body. Not holding the breath. And then set the foot down. Let's switch. So we're standing on the right. Hands to center. If you feel steady, you might extend arms, but if you're not feeling too steady, then that's fine. Just hold where you are and breathe. And then set your foot down. We're going to step out into Warrior 3. So got a little room in front of us. Hands to center, stepping out with the left. Shifting the weight into that left side so that we can lift up the right foot. Maybe just a little, maybe more, I don't know. Where are you today? Where is your balance point? See what happens. Sometimes it helps have a little bend in that standing leg. It helps you be more engaged, right? Don't lock the knee. It's very unstable, kind of wobbly. Not a great idea. And then just bring the foot down. We'll work on the other side. Take a breath. And step out right. Doesn't have to be a big step. Just enough to shift everything into that right side. And breathe. If you step out, then just come on back in. And then bring the foot back down. Maybe bicycle out the legs a little bit. Come on down to a seat on the mat. Soles of the feet together. a deep breath. Lean forward. Back up. Let's bring that left knee in front. Right comes on top. Scoot that over as much as you can. Take a deep breath. Fold. And then back up, switch around. Take a breath and fold. This side is always a little extra for me. It's hard. I find it hard to get that stretch, but my knee also, I got to be a little careful with it. So you figure it out. Just do your best with this one. I know it's kind of an awkward pose sometimes. Back up, both legs out in front. Take a breath and fold. Bend the knees. Lowering down. Take a few moments here. Right ankle on the left knee. Drawing that thigh in close to the body, or just keeping the left foot on the ground, press the right knee away. And then switch around. Set the foot down. Both feet on the mat. Bump the knees together. And then let's bring soles of the feet together, knees apart. And then moving into Shavasana here. You can stay as you are. You could extend the legs and the arms. Whatever feels like a good idea for you today. Keep breathing. Relaxed and steady. When you're ready, moving a bit. Just waking back up. And come on up to a seat. Let's bring hands together. Breath in and breath out. Thank you for taking some time this morning for your practice and for sharing it with me. I hope that you have a very good Saturday and Sunday. Namaste. Great. Okay. Meditation. 5 minutes. Got my timer here. So 1 bell to start, 3 bells to stop is how that goes. Find a comfortable seat. however that works for you, holding that gentle focus, letting the thoughts just pass by. Okay, back. 5-minute meditation is done, and I will see you on Monday.